Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with my weekly recap, breakdown, and review of the latest episodes of HBO Max's Generation. Today, we're talking episode 14 and 15, and I gotta say, these were two great episodes, and we only have one episode left, but two episodes to set up what I'm hoping to be a satisfying finale. We're gonna break down those two new episodes here in the spoiler discussion, but before we break it all down, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing, and while you're at it, make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. If you all enjoy this breakdown and enjoy this review, well, make sure to like the video, share the video. It helps out the channel a lot, but also appreciate the support. And in the comments below, for all my Generation fans, what did you think of episodes 14 and 15? What was your favorite out of the two? Me personally, both of these episodes were fantastic, but let me know some of your favorite moments. What did you think about Riley's episode and her going through her drama with her family and potentially moving to Rio? What did you think about episode 15 and everyone having their kind of moment of Delilah's secret gets out? We have everything going on with Chester and Bo maybe breaking up, like I alluded to weeks ago, as I talked about Nathan's dad, maybe Mark coming out of the closet, and all the stuff that we got in episode 14 and 15. Let's discuss it in the comments. So before I break it all down, just briefly, like I said, I thought this second half of the show has been fantastic, as well as the first half. But this, to me, these back-to-back episodes, 14 and 15, were so great because, as you all know, if you've been watching my reviews on a weekly basis, I love Riley. She's my favorite character. So knowing that we focus so much on Riley in episode 14, and we get even more of her in episode 15, and also just spreading out the information that we got within episode 15 regarding the drama, the secrets, the lies, and all the stuff that we got. So I thought these two episodes back-to-back were fantastic, and I really do hope that it sets up for a really satisfying finale. But again, just let me know briefly which episode did you prefer over one or the other, or if you enjoy both like I did. Let's talk about it in the comments. So let's get into episode 14 breakdown, titled Click WHIRR, which is a phrase known to those as far as information that having limited information, which, speaking of limited information, Riley was very limited in this episode. She's sleep deprived. She's doing a 24-hour photo challenge, and she goes through a lot of anxiety in this episode. So let's kick it off with this recap as the episode opens up with the title card, 8 hours, and we see Riley in her mother's playroom talking to a Furby as her mom eventually walks in, and she wants to play with her daughter and talks about expectations and needs and wants and all this stuff. But the conversation gets brought into, Mom, what do you think about this Rio trip? As the audience, we don't know what the Rio trip means. I'm just assuming, oh, her dad's going to Rio, taking his new girlfriend, and wants Riley to go. But we later find out what this Rio trip is all about. But we cut to seeing Riley saying that she has to go to school, but she makes a detour to the ocean, which leads us to the title card of hour 9, where Riley comes across this random shirtless kid who eats some of her food, and he's new to town. He's not impressed by the ocean, but it's at this point that we're starting to see Riley 9 hours into this sleep deprived. She's kind of cutting in and out, right? And she really needs to get some sleep. And also she has this built up anxiety with stuff going on at home, stuff going on with her love life, all the stuff going on. So again, Riley's going through it in this episode, and she just needs someone to talk to, as we see by the end of this episode, which we'll get into. But cut to hour 11, where we see Riley yet again kind of wandering around. She comes across another random person, this time an older gentleman with a new car who suggests his car has a female's name. Riley takes it upon herself to ride the car recklessly because, again, she's sleep deprived. She really isn't someone that drives her own. As we know, Chester drives her everywhere, and she eventually drives to school, and the guy realizes, like, oh, you're a lot younger than I thought you were. But again, it just goes to show you Riley is being very reckless, driving with no sleep, getting in a car with a stranger, putting her life at danger, his life at danger, and everyone on the road. So again, we need Riley to kind of cool down and kind of, reevaluate things that she's got going on in her life. As she tells everyone at school, the whole crew now, she's at school, she mentions that she wants to have a party, this kind of last hurrah party. I to assume that next week's episode will be this party where she's going to tell everyone that she's going to probably either stay at home with her mom or stay with Ana, stay with Megan and Mark and Naomi and Nate, or she's gonna go to Rio. I think that's gonna be next week's finale. But as we go to the next moment, hour 12, which we see Riley talking to Sam, and this is where Sam, again, I mentioned in my review a couple weeks ago, I don't know how Sam's gonna really factor into this part of the show, which they really haven't had him involved that much, especially with Chester not being involved and Chester being in love with Bo. So we see them having a conversation about her grades, and he brings up that, he just learned that he called her house to find out that she's been staying at Anna's house, which is great because that means that she did accept the invitation that Ana gave her, giving her that extra room. But obviously, she wanted that to be kind of their little secret and not be let out, which, by the way, again, Ana, my second favorite character, kudos to her for doing the right thing as an adult, letting the school know, letting the parents know. But obviously, like I said, Riley isn't too happy about that, which we see her channeling all this negative pent-up anger and all this anxiety towards Greta. They have a bit of a fight regarding why did your auntie tell the school about me staying there, and then they get a little bit of a fight about them hooking up last year or at the the field trip that they had earlier in the part 1 of this season. So she's channeling all this negative energy at the wrong person because there's been a lot of anxiety between those two characters. So we see Riley at Anna's house at this point in the episode. She wants to stay, but she ultimately packs all her stuff up and she wants Ana to apologize for letting this out. But Ana doesn't have to apologize. Again, she did the right thing, at least in my opinion. But we ultimately see her packing up her stuff, going to Nathan's house, which brings us to hour 13. We see Riley asking where Chester's at because she's been texting him all episode and she's a little bit concerned about that. And this is where we learn that Chester and Nate have broken up, this fake pretend relationship that they're in. But obviously this is hurting Nathan. We cut to seeing Naomi coming home from the dentist, just straight up doped out of her mind. I assume she got her wisdom tooth taken out. But unfortunately, as Nathan pranking her, it comes up. Cooper has been invited to the house at this point. He brings her a teddy bear and some flowers. And unfortunately, Naomi lets it slip up that Delilah is the Panda Girl Express who had the baby, which obviously is going to cause some tension between that three-way that we have between Naomi, Cooper, and Delilah. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. But we cut to hour 20, the dinner date with Nathan, Naomi, Mark, and Megan. We get a game of Would You Rather. We see Naomi calling out her parents' sex life and threesome conversation. Again, I would never want to go to their house for a dinner date because there's just a lot of drama within that family. But it comes out that Nathan and Chester broke up, and Megan finds this out, and that plays big into next episode 15 that we'll break down. But Riley at this point, hour 20, is clearly out of her mind. She's really upset. She's really having anxiety. She has a panic attack, essentially. She's in the closet of the kitchen, runs out of the kitchen, goes to the front yard or the backyard. Megan kind of has a conversation with her, and this is where we learn that it's not a Rio trip, but indeed that her dad, Riley's dad, wants to move to Rio with his new girlfriend, but he wants Riley to stay with them because he doesn't feel like Riley's mom is equipped to take care of her, which I kind of believe that based on this kind of midlife crisis that she's going through with her playroom. But the thing that really kind of hurt Riley was her mom suggested that she does live with her dad. So that's really where all this anxiety and tension and all the stuff that she has going through in this episode. So I just feel so bad for her. Again, as you all know, she's my favorite character. But Megan kind of actually is there to kind of help her out in this moment. She gives her, would you rather change the future or change the past? But she's kind of comforting her in this moment, which brings us to hour 23 as we wrap up the episode. Chester finally responds, picks up Riley, and she couldn't be happier. I mean, you could just tell how happy she is with Chester. I don't think it's a love interest or any romantic thing going on. She just really feels so comfortable with him and just really feels like she can lean on him and rely on him. And she has been doing that this entire season. So it's good to have Chester be there for her because she needs the help. So really good episode. Again, I love me some Riley. I love all the stuff they've got in the episode. I love the way it was kind of cut and chopped up and her being disoriented because of her sleep depression, her anxiety, the stuff that she found out about her dad. So really great episode. But follow that up with episode 15, which was just as good, which was called L'amour, which is a phrase in French for love is in the air. There's a lot of love in the air in this episode. At least we think there is, as we open up with two lovebirds, Chester and Bo, having this Valentine's Day celebration, breaking a bunch of stuff and really letting out all their anger, if they have any, with breaking TVs and breaking glass. So again, these lovebirds start off good, but things kind of break by the end end of the episode, if you know what I mean, in a relationship. So cut to Chester being the title card, opening up this episode, as we see him and Bo sharing an intimate moment in the car, and we see that Bo has a surprise for him. They decide to inevitably be honest with each other, as they test out the honesty, as Chester gets asked by Bo, what do you think about my style? He admits it's a little bit basic for him. They ask about a good kisser, sexual fantasies, which Bo fantasy for Chester is to tie him up. So they're being really honest with each other, and they decide to ultimately go to this pre-party before the big dance. Cut to the actual party where we have our whole crew there, and we have this little moment here. Ariana, she tells Greta and Chester that Naomi let it slip out about Delilah's baby. So we obviously know there's going to be some tension between those three close friends. As we transition from Chester and Nathan having this conversation, Chester gives Nathan a pretend imaginary hug because he's obviously upset about stuff that just recently went down, about them breaking up. He's having some stress with his mom and dad. And we see Megan talking to Bo about the situation. And we see from Bo's perspective, he tells Chester, because obviously Chester sees that Bo is a little bit upset. Chester learns that Bo has just been told by Megan that that you broke up with my son, or I should say Chester broke up with my son, broke his heart. And this is where Bo is starting to think, wow, there was really maybe something going on with you two, and maybe we're not meant to be together because you broke his heart, and Nathan seems to be maybe a little bit better suited for you. So again, all the confusion going on between this kind of love triangle that is going on with this. But we see, they're getting interrupted because Chester's like, Bo, what's going on? Because it seems like Bo wants to break up with Chester in this moment, but they get interrupted by this group photo, which is like the thesis and the theme within this episode. Photos, it doesn't appear, what you see in the photo isn't always what appears. Everyone's happy, but you don't know what's going on in their real life, which cut to Mark being our title sequence now, and kind of the main character in this particular part of the story, who's at odds with Megan because she doesn't want this backdrop to be up, so they're fighting around that. He has a conversation with Riley, which he tells Riley, which is very important, he wants to have, Riley says, your son's been there for me. He's a great guy. And he agrees with that. Yeah, my son's a great guy. And I really want to talk to him more. I really want to connect with my son more. Remember that part there. Remember what I said last week about Mark being in the closet. We'll talk about that in a second. But even, he talks to Ariana's dad, their dad's about his sex life and not, having a happy ending for his Valentine's Day. So there's a lot on Mark's mind, and particularly him being in the closet potentially, or being bisexual himself. We go to, him taking the photo and just, he's like pretending everything's going okay. And again, I love how in this moment with Mark, he's taking the photos of everyone seeming to be happy, everyone smiling, but we know the photo doesn't really represent what's going on in that moment, as he's seeing, Chester and Bo talking, Chester and Nate talking, and everyone in the party. And again, it seems like everyone's happy, but we know deep down there's a lot of anxiety amongst this crew. Like I said, there's more than meets the eye with that photo. So I see the actual perspective of the Megan and Bo conversation about Chester breaking up with her son, and that she is seeming to actually care about Nathan and this breakup. She does care for her son. And we got a hint of that last week, but we see it from her perspective, how she feels like Chester broke her son's heart. And then you bring Bo into the situation, and we learn a little bit more about the situation here in a second, as Megan tells Mark to take down the backdrop yet again, and he refuses. She says, fine, this is important. She says, fine, let's just pretend we're having this big lie, which again goes back to me thinking, not just pretending that they're, at beef, at odds with each other, but pretending that she knows that her husband's bisexual. I've been saying that for weeks now, and I think that's going to be a big reveal next week, but we'll see. But cut to Riley's title card. We hear that Nate tells her that her father is coming. He's at the party. She goes outside and has a bit of a moment there. And even before Chester, or I should say Nathan, tells her that her dad's outside, he tells her that he feels like his dad wants to tell him something, wants to get something off his chest. I'm telling you all, we're going to get a moment where Nathan learns from his dad, Mark, that Mark is closetedly gay or he's a bisexual. Keep that in mind for next week's finale. But we see Naomi trying to convince herself to Riley that she wasn't bad for letting the beans spill out in front of Cooper. We see Riley's dad eventually does come to the party, and she's like, Dad, this is not what showing up means. I don't want you to be here right now, especially with me. You wanted me to live with you in Rio. So again, a lot of stuff carrying over from last week's, or I should say episode 14. Riley tells Nate that she believes that she's becoming more like her parents, and she even lets it slip that she did hook up with Greta, or tried to hook up with Greta, but she ended up hooking up with Luce, which obviously makes Nathan pissed because he's like, we tell each other everything. Why don't you tell me this? She doesn't want to hear that. She just wants to have a friend there, so she walks out of the room upset, and this is where Riley kind of musters up courage to tell or ask Greta what's wrong with me, only to be interrupted by Megan stepping in as Riley laughs at her comments about, throwing Chester out of the party with a broom. But Megan can sense that something's wrong, and she kind of puts two and two together and asks Riley, how long has Chester and Bo been dating? And now she thinks that Chester was dating Bo this whole time, that she was dating her son, making it seem like he was cheating on her. So this is that going back to the perspective of why she was so mean to Bo, because she thinks that Chester was cheating on her son with, Bo. So it kind of really explains the tension at the party. As we wrap up, we see again the big family or friendly photo for the dance, and everyone again has secrets, has anxiety, has an animosity towards each other, and we even end with Cooper telling Delilah, I know something and I have to tell you something that I just learned. End of the episode. So again, we have our three best friends with Naomi, Ariana, and Delilah having beef with Cooper, and then we have stuff with Chester, Bo, Megan, as well as Nate. We have this secret that Mark wants to get off his chest. We have obviously Riley with her issue with her dad and her mom, and obviously Greta and Luce. So everyone right now is having a bit of drama, and we got one more episode to see how it all plays out. So 2 solid good episodes to my personal opinion. Really great episodes, character moments, great reveals, really good acting amongst the entire cast, the Riley episode, and then this whole episode with everyone involved. So kudos to the show. Really sets up a fantastic, which I hope to be a fantastic finale. But that's just my thoughts on the 2 episodes. Let me know what you all thought of it, your pros, your cons, your favorite moments, least favorite moments, and what do you hope to see in next week's finale, as I think that we'll be at Riley's kind of farewell party to Rio. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, make sure to like the video, share the video. Again, comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell. That way you don't miss any more other content. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Hope you're staying safe. We'll see you on the next video.